The good Lord gave you a body that can stand most anything. It's your mind you have to convince. That's an excerpt given by Vince Lombardi in a speech he made. Hello, my name is Brandon Gum. I would like to share with you all a time in my life that has helped shape who I am today. As I think back to a time that is most relevant, it would be when I enlisted in the United States Air Force in 2003. My initial experience was a feeling of exhilaration. I was joining a team that spanned the globe. I would be in control of my own destiny and counted on by so many. Their lives and well-being would be greatly impacted with even the smallest decisions I would make. Diving into basic training head first was an eye-opening experience. Absolutely nothing would prepare me for what I was about to encounter. When we pulled through the gates, the first thing I noted was a sign that read Gateway to the Air Force. That was about the only thing that was comforting throughout the whole process. As I finally began to relax, the bus came to a screeching halt at our final destination. At that point, my life would get a lot worse. The door swung open and a man in fatigues began yelling at the top of his lungs, "Get off my bus!" I felt as though he was singling me out, but that was all part of the process. We were then marched in formation in total silence to the barracks where we would spend the next 6 weeks of our lives. I spent the first night of my military career in a twin-size bed on cold steel. By no means was this an ordinary night. I laid awake for most of the night with thoughts racing through my head. I wondered what kind of hell I would be going through over the next 6 weeks. After remembering stories from families and friends that had already ventured through the process, I began to think of worst-case scenarios instead of best. Would I be able to accomplish the feats that so many have before me? I wondered if I would even be able to handle the mental and physical stressors that I was about to receive. The first week began with losing part of my identity. I had my head shaved completely bald for the first time. I was forced to wear a uniform without my name on it. I was known as trainee for the first 3 weeks or so. Everything in my foreseeable future was turned upside down without any self-doing. The days blended into each other, with each hour passing slower than the next. This process was probably the hardest to deal with, because just for a moment I was forgetting my old self. The idea behind it all, which I didn't see at that time, was to break you down to your lowest point and build you back up a stronger person. Sleep and personal time were given as gifts when the training instructor saw fit. When we did get time to ourselves, it was usually filled with squaring away our lockers and personal space. We also were doing push-ups and sit-ups for others' lack of attention to detail. Physical fitness was mandatory, pushing us all to our limits. Running was one of the most enjoyable exercises because it was one of the only times that I got to think for myself. Out of it all, it propelled me into the best shape of my life, so that is definitely something to be thankful for. The second week was quite interesting as well. The training stayed at the same pace, except school was now thrown into the mix. It was there we learned about core values, the key that would unlock my character. Integrity, service before self, and excellence in all we do. I was finally beginning to see the fruits of my labor and understanding the direction the military was taking me. The next few weeks would blend into one another, helping me to prepare for my final test, Warrior Week. It would be here that I could finally use all of my hard work and training in real-life situations. The week started out with us building up our base camp and becoming acquainted with our surroundings. With all the odds stacked against us, teamwork was the only way to accomplish what was expected of us. There is no greater feeling than self-accomplishment. In the end, I would finally earn my rite of passage into the United States Air Force. Looking back, I realized that this decision, to which I had fought for so long, would mold me into something I dreamed of becoming. I have a newfound outlook on life. To this day, I have not only an instilled confidence to walk into a room with my head held high, but also the will to stand tall and face anything.